We welcome you tonight.
I have 13 documents. One I want into the public records. I have 12 others that are for everybody else. Once again, the money had been appropriated for one project will get taken and used for a completely different project. The $5.2 million in question tonight was received from FEMA to be used on improving the drainage system in neighborhoods, namely Windsor Woods. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen now. Instead, y'all want to take FEMA's $5.2 million and upgrade the oceanfront drainage system. I have a major problem with that. FEMA didn't give the city this money to be spent on the resort district, aka the oceanfront. Again, it was meant for the neighborhoods affected from Hurricane Matthew, like Windsor Woods. So what you guys have in front of you is Title 18.2, Crimes and Offenses Generally, Chapter 6, Crimes Involving Fraud, and that's Virginia Code. And in 18.2-178, obtaining money or signatures, etc. by false pretense, because that's what this is. If any person obtained by false pretense or token by any person with intent to defraud money or a gift certificate or other property that may be subject to larceny shall be deemed guilty of larceny thereof, or if he obtained by any false pretense or token such intent the signature of any person to a writing, the false making whereof would be forgery, he shall be guilty of a class 4 felony. And you're looking away. Interesting. I know you're set on passing this ordinance/resolution. This is what y'all do. The money's collected, obtained for one specific purpose, then repurpose it for an entirely different project. I have Barbara Henley on video, and I plastered that on YouTube, admitting it. Hanson, I distinctly remember you whining about how, I don't understand why we're spending this money on these neighborhoods. Yet you're going to take this money and spend it on the ocean front. I don't get that. So it boggles the minds. You guys spend this money, don't give a crap what strings are attached, as in don't spend this anywhere else because this is meant for this. Oh no, we're going to spend it for something else. Interesting.
Next speaker, please.
Mr. Mayor, I did. Charlie,
There is nothing illegal with this ordinance that's before you. This money is reimbursement for money that you've already spent in these neighborhoods. And council has the discretion to determine to what project or to the general fund generally that it wants to put it.
Thank you, board. Next speaker, please. Thank you very much. Is there a motion?
Comments at some points, because I don't know what I've been accused of.
Right. Okay.
I guess I'll be interested in seeing what's on YouTube. But I think there are a lot of misperceptions and a lot of misinformation. And I think before we need to go forward on this, we need to clarify that information. What is this money coming to the city for? What was the money originally spent? I think I know, but I think the public needs to know and understand. And I don't know that this is not the usual FEMA money that I think people think of as being able to go to individual people. That's another pot of money. I think we really have to put the facts out so that the facts are out. So everyone does understand, and that I think this is a topic for misinformation, as we saw that video last week. And I think it's very unfortunate if there is misinformation being given to the public, and I think we need to clarify it before we do go forward, because I think then it's going to be impossible to clarify it. So I think we probably should defer this to our next council meeting, and in the 2 or 3 weeks between now and then, that we have the opportunity to answer the information. What did the city spend? Where did that money come from? What is this money intended for? Have we ever gotten this kind of money before? What have we done with it in the past? And all these things that I think need to be clarified, because I think it's unfortunate if people are told something that is not really the facts.
Thank you. I've got Bobby and I are this Shane.
I'm going to defer to Shannon first.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I prepared my remarks for tonight, just so that I didn't forget anything and leave anything out. But I'd like to say that I truly understand that all areas of our city require substantial investments to make sure that we mitigate flooding in the future. But this isn't the issue with this proposal, in my opinion. The question should be, what was the purpose of the funding, or where can it be used to have the most impact? This reimbursement money from FEMA was for Hurricane Matthew. And I understand the federal government allows it to be used for other drainage projects to help with future storms, but I really feel this funding should be focused on the areas of our city where Hurricane Matthew's impact was the greatest. There are families in my district which bore the brunt of that storm, and to this day, as you've heard tonight, they haven't been made whole. And I believe that these areas are still the most vulnerable for flooding in the near future. And I appreciate the flooding that my peers and our council have put and already committed toward these neighborhoods. We are fully funded, and I truly appreciate and thank each of you for being there with me to make sure that we did this for our neighborhood. And I voted this year to support that, but I firmly believe that this Hurricane Matthew funding should be used to help the areas of the city most hardest hit by Matthew. And to use it otherwise would be a disservice to our citizens, and I can't support that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I guess I got a personal bias in this, in a way. For my job, I do home care rehab. I go to people's homes. And after Matthew, I was in people's homes. And it was a helpless feeling, that I had at that time. And a lot of people were saying to me, Bob, what can you do? What is the city going to do to help us? So, Shannon said, city's taken steps to do this. But, right now, I think the money should be dedicated to help remedy some of the impacted areas. And I guess, part of the problem that I had tonight also is a process problem. We just talked about it this evening, and here we are voting on it. And once again, I've objected to these things, for a while. I think, I agree with Mrs. Henley, a deferral might be in order. We're going to be having a number of public hearings, taking a look at the whole picture of stormwater management. And the point is, wouldn't it be better to, to discuss this in a context and the whole picture? So, I would like to make a motion that we defer this.
Second.
Okay, I have a substitute motion for deferral.
I don't think we have an...
Oh, there was the motion, excuse me. Thank you very much. Then. That's the main motion. By John Moss.
Well, I do support the deferral. I sympathize both with what they said, but I still believe the question that I asked on October 25th, because you may recall, the city manager sent us a memo, like he often does in our packet, in all fairness to him, saying, this is what I'm considering, let me know if you have any questions. And everybody knows, I always have lots of questions. So I sent him an email with regard to that October 25th and said, I need to understand, because the public wants to understand, what was the criteria, what was the methodology, and how did you score the universe of eligible products and derive that the product that you're recommending is the highest and best use? I do agree with the mayor that we have smart people on our staff, but smart people on your staff doesn't excuse you from being accountable for the recommendations you make with empirical analysis that can stand up to objective, public, robust debate. And we have seen no such matrix. No such matrix has been provided. I think the reason why I say this is as we move forward, these decisions of allocating money are not going to get any easier. And just as we've adopted a smart scale algorithm for looking at road projects, if we don't develop a like mechanism that we go out and tell them and can show the people how this is really looking at things on the merit, and everyone may not in the end agree with it, but that's what we've come up with in the state to adjudicate and prevent these favoritism accusations, and you just have to let the math fall where it is and put the money where the best use is. So that gets away from, there's no fraud being done here, and I don't think there's anyone here with any dishonorable intentions or all want to do the right thing. But we don't have an algorithm or a process that tells us what the right thing is. And so I think before we start spending money, Mr. Mayor, that we really need to have a smart scale like algorithm, or we're gonna have a lot of people down here every night thinking somehow we're playing favorites, or we're being driven by our supporters or our campaign contributors, none of which I believe is true, but we can't tell them why. And we need to be able to give people the reasoning for our decision, and we need to be relied upon our staff to give us the algorithm and the reasoning so that the public can trust the judgment we're making is in the best public good.
Mr. Moss, I think what you just said made some good sense. I would sit back and say to you that I go along with this deferral. I do have a couple of quick comments, though. I mean, I speak as you just said. Everyone on this council is trying to do the right thing with limited resources. Flooding is an issue for this entire city, wherever you live. And we are doing, we've stepped up and put some very serious money in it, as Shannon just said, in the budget, and I foresee that number increasing in time as well. It is a huge, huge priority for this city. I resent individuals speaking as some spoke to us today, and I speak for myself, and I believe I speak for this entire body. We have got to have more civility. We have got to have, this body is trying to do the right thing. And I believe that for all 10 of us in here today, we have one out. But I also want to explain why I was leaning for supporting what was presented. Because you just reiterated, we have a very bright staff. And to top it off, we have a city manager that used to run the local Army Corps of Engineers in this region. And so as I have said numerous times, we're lucky to have the city manager that we do handling this type of problem because of his credentials and his knowledge in dealing with it. So I think I see how we could go either way on this. I really mean that. I mean, because these projects need to be done. That flooding in front of that dentist office wasn't even hardly a 2-hour rain. And that dentist office had vehicles that were destroyed. That dentist office also had total water inside of it. And then there are a lot of residential people in that area. And let me also say, it is middle income as well. So, I mean, we have this issue across our city. And I do believe to defer this at this time would be wise. I do think, to the city manager, I think you've already gotten something that's in place on how to rate these flooding projects, do you not? Or are you in the process of doing it? Why am I thinking that? Something like a smart scale for transportation.
I think we provided you a list of all the projects. You had another matrix handed to you today. There's not enough money to do $1 billion, $500 million worth of stormwater. This is the only flood control project on that list that has had $0 put to it. This money was not earmarked for any specific area. It was encouraged by FEMA to be put towards flood control projects. Just because it happens to be in the central resort area, I don't know the villainization of that particular neighborhood being characterized as a resort project is appropriate. People live there, businesses work there, and they have a right to also have the engineering necessary to move them forward as do all the others. The gentleman that spoke on behalf of Shore Drive and Cape Henry is certainly justified to be concerned that his neighborhood isn't there. And quite frankly, there's no specific allocation of funds that were given to the cleanup of all the flooded neighborhoods from Hurricane Matthew. These weren't flood dollars that were used to spend this. These were operational dollars that were rerouted to take care of the costs associated with the cleanup. And so I'd be happy to write a paper so that I can answer all the questions here. I don't know that I can give you an algorithm, Mr. Moss. I can tell you that in 2015, when we briefed the city council on the 4 major areas, one of them being the Central Beach District, one of them being Eastern Shore Drive, one of them being the Southern Watershed, and one of them being the Windsor Woods Plaza area, they were all equally as important. And I guess it depends on the pair of shoes that you wear, and the house that was flooded, and the concerns that you have. And certainly, we all feel that pain in each of those neighborhoods. And I can't justify, I can do the math, the dollars, and we showed you that again tonight, what the Dewberry study tells you, the damage predictions and percentages of damages associated with those neighbors. But is there a difference between 12% and 18% if you're the house that's being flooded? And so all I'm trying to do is equally distribute with available money, and this is found money. This is a reroute of 2017 appropriated dollars now coming back to us in 2018. And so can I give you a foolproof, guaranteed matrix algorithm that would pass muster? And no, it won't pass muster if you're representing the Rose Hall District or the Kempsville District or the Beach District or the Lynn Haven District. It won't pass muster. And there's no matrix that I can give you short of saying, let's create another $250 million to fix it all. But it's still going to take a sequential, bi-phasing effort to get this work done.
Very good. Mr. Austin, then we'll call for the question.
Well, I just want to make one comment because it really bothers me that there's the perception that we may use this money to give to the individuals who were damaged. And that, I don't believe, is something that we can do with this money. And I hate to have these folks have their hopes raised that they're going to get some money from the city to fix their homes and so forth, because I don't believe that's something that we can do. And I think it's important that we make everyone aware of all of the facts. And I do hope that we will have a major public information. Well, of course, we're going to be doing public information when we do the series of meetings that we're going to be having in the next 2 months. But I think it's really important that, we make sure everyone understands, because I would hate for people to think that we have money that we can be giving to individuals and we just won't do it, because that's just not the case.
John, then we'll call for the question.
I empathize with the city manager's challenge, because I think it's our challenge. I think it's the same challenge the state had with highway money. That algorithm is not perfect. It will never be perfect. It does rely upon the people who look at the information that's generated that's probably 80% right, for the public to somewhat presume and trust that the people who are then applying it are virtuous in their judgment. Our whole civic ethic is about people being virtuous in public service. So I'm not looking for perfection. But what I'm looking at is, I think we ought to look at some of those smart scale criteria rather than reinventing the wheel. And I'm pledged to work on that myself over the Christmas holidays and prepare some kind of paper. I love these kind of challenges. I do evaluation assessments for a living, so I'll take a stab at it. But I really do believe that we collectively want something that won't be perfect. And I won't say sometimes that there won't be other things that drive it. But if you don't know where the baseline is, you don't know your reasoning for your departure. And you then can't be accountable. And I think all of us just want to do the right thing, but be accountable for the right thing. And I really wish, and I have a lot of my good friends out there who I eat pizza with, all around pizza, know well, but on this issue, I know there are other issues where I would be on your side, but on this issue, people up here are really trying to do the right thing with a little bit of money. And if we want to do more, I need you to come here and tell me how we can help us raise it. I have some ideas on that too, but it's going to take a lot more money to be a lot more aggressive on some of this issue, because that's the only way you're going to be faster in some ways.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Council, we have a motion to defer. I've asked Mr. Dyer, he's going to suggest 60 days, which will allow the public comments, public meetings to occur. So the motion to defer for 60 days. Call for the question, please.
It's 10-0, Mr. Ernst being absent.
Item open public hearing for planning, Water Boxes LLC, conditional change of zoning from B2 and R7.5 to condition B4 and P1. Conditional use permit regarding multifamily dwelling and commercial marina at 2100 Marina Shore Drive.